Hello everybody. I hope all of y'all are having a good day today. I'm going to try to keep this video short because most people's attention spans have gotten pretty short here lately. But I want to share with you something about the story of Jacob, which is Israel, the body of Israel, the people of Israel, and the man that was healed on the day of Pentecost in Acts chapter 3. You have to understand what's going on in the Old Testament in order to know what's happening in the New Testament. That's why there's so many different doctrinal beliefs in the New Testament, because people just randomly pick verses and build their houses, build their doctrines around it. And I always say their houses are built out of paper. It's a house of cards, because they don't understand the beginning. Most of you know the story of Jacob wrestling with God and man. All right, and he named the place after he wrestled with God and man. He named the name of the place Peniel, because he saw God face to face and his life was preserved. And that word for preserved there in Hebrew actually means snatched away, plucked away, like a fruit. Same as harpazo, which is raptured in the Greek. Anyway, Jacob wrestles with God and man, and it's the wrestling within himself. Okay, remember, man has become double-minded. Man has the ability to be spiritual, but he's always fighting with his carnal self. That's why there's enmity between the two seeds. There's a battle going on at all times. All right, but Jacob persevered, and he was blessed. Okay, but the man part of him touched Jacob's hip, and it was like it went out of socket. And when Jacob walked away, he walked away with a limp. Okay, so look at that as like, he just got blessed, but the man part of him, the part of him that's still a man, that's still carnal, caused him to limp. He wasn't walking exactly the way he should walk. He had one leg dragging. When somebody has a limp, and just say they're going to walk out into a desert, a vast desert, and if you tell them, you don't give them any point of reference to walk to, you just tell them to walk straight, they will walk in a circle. They'll come in a complete circle because one side is dominant on the other. There was an old movie back in the 70s called Vanishing Point, and I love that. It's about this awesome Dodge Challenger that was running away from the cops, and he went out in the desert, and he wound up doing a circle. He crossed his own tracks because one side of his car was pulling a little bit. All right, that's the same with people that have a limp. If you don't have a point of reference, something to look to, you will walk in a circle. All right, this is why the people, whenever Israel, remember Jacob became Israel, whenever they left Egypt, they wandered in the desert. It's like they were walking in circles, okay, because of their limp. The limp was because of their carnal nature, not the spiritual nature. If you'll remember, whenever they gouged out the eye of Samson, they put him grinding on the millstone. And that when you're pushing the millstone, you go in circles. He was going in circles with his carnal works. They were taking him nowhere. He was just making a circle. All right? So Jacob had been blessed, but he hadn't received his inheritance. If you'll remember, all of Jacob's livestock, everything that he had, that he worked for and all that stuff, remember, it was all blemished. Everything, all of his livestock had problems. There was blemishes on them. Remember, God chooses the despised, the broken things of the world, the things, the people that are blemished. All right, he don't take perfect people. He takes broken people to shame them people that think they are perfect. All right, so he hadn't received his inheritance yet, but he was blessed. He was protected. So now let's go to the story in Acts chapter 3 where Peter and John are about to go into the temple, and there's a poor man begging at the gate called Beautiful. All right, and whenever you look at that word beautiful in the Greek, which is what Acts was written in, that word actually means like perfect timing. Remember, in God's perfect timing, everything works out perfectly. So you need to look at this man that's sitting there begging like Israel. He has a limp. This man, he's begging, and he is lame. He cannot walk. Okay? So Peter and John, they come up to him and they look at him, they gaze at him. All right, and he looks at them attentively, and Peter says, "Silver and gold I don't have." Peter tells him, "Silver and gold I don't have, but what I do have, I'll give you." And Peter had the keys to the kingdom. Remember, because Jesus had given the apostles the keys to the kingdom of heaven. All right, and so remember, this is a poor man begging. He's lame. And he's at the gate called Beautiful, meaning he's there at the divine, perfect timing when he is supposed to be there. All right? And you have to remember the rich man and Lazarus. And you remember the Lazarus was very poor, and he was just laying around begging, waiting for somebody to give him scraps off their table. Just like the prodigal son. He was there with the pigs, just hoping somebody would feed them spiritual food, okay? So this man, he's there outside the temple by the gate, the perfect timing gate, Beautiful, and he's waiting, and Peter says, "You know what I do have, I will give you." And he said, "In the name of Jesus, get up and walk." And the man sprang up, okay? He springs up, and he starts jumping around and everything. And you look at that word, spring up, in the Greek language, the Greek that it was written in, and it means to ascend. Okay, ascend spiritually. All right, he went from this carnal-minded person to all of a sudden, boom, his eyes are open. His eye is open, okay? This is Jacob, this is Israel, and he has just received his inheritance, and he is no longer lame. All right, he can walk. And you look at that word for walk in the Greek that it was written in, and it means that he is able to walk in a moral way, Hebrewistically, or something like I can't get the word, but to walk in that manner, to walk the real law, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. But it also means to come full circle. All right, he walked in a circle, wandering in the desert, and whenever he comes around, boom, there it is. He's got it. He gets his inheritance. He come full circle. He had to go through hell and come back around to find something that was much better than silver and gold. All right, he sprang up. He ascended. All right, but there's one more thing I want you to look at, and that's that word beautiful. The gate called Beautiful. Not only does it mean a seasonable timing or a perfect timing, but it also means to become fruitful. Remember Cain, he worked the field and it was not going to give him anything. It was the fruitless deeds of darkness, the works of the law, the works of your hands, religious works. They're fruitless. They don't do anything. They don't provide the fruit of the Spirit. Then, once he was healed, that's what saved means, is healed. Once his lameness was healed, there was no longer enmity between the seeds, and he was able to walk, conduct himself in a Hebrew-like manner, the real Hebrew way. Remember walking the way? He was able to do that because his eye was open and he could now see. He was no longer lame. He could walk that narrow path, the straight and narrow. I love you all. God bless.